Have you ever imagined what it would feel like to be completely alone? Not just alone in your room or your house, but alone on the entire planet. Imagine waking up one morning, expecting the usual noise, the cars outside, your phone buzzing, the hum of life all around you, but instead, silence. The streets are empty. Shops, homes, every place you once knew, abandoned. No people, no internet, no messages, nothing. At first you'd think, maybe it's a bad dream, maybe it's a prank, maybe everyone's just hiding somewhere. But as the hours pass and the world remains frozen, the terrifying truth hits you. You are the only person left on Earth. Now ask yourself, what would you do? And more importantly, how long can you survive, physically and mentally? At first, you don't understand what's happening. You think maybe you overslept. Maybe it's still early and people are just indoors. You grab your phone. No notifications. Strange. You try calling your best friend, your family, maybe your boss, but no one picks up. The line doesn't even ring. You open your front door expecting the usual, cars passing by, someone jogging, dogs barking down the street. But what greets you is silence. An unsettling, heavy kind of silence. You walk further down the street. The houses all look normal. Curtains in the windows, cars in the driveways, everything looks untouched, but there's no sign of life. You check your neighbors' doors, locked. You shout their names, nothing. The fear hasn't set in yet, not fully. Your brain keeps searching for a logical explanation. Maybe there's an emergency, a government warning, a citywide drill. You run back inside, flip on the TV. Static. Every channel, dead. The internet? Completely down. You try the radio. Only a faint crackle of static, like the world's frequency has gone silent. You feel your heart pounding now. Your hands start shaking. You open social media, offline. You check your messages, empty. You think, this has to be a joke. It has to be. But deep down, you already know, something's wrong. You rush outside again, walking faster now. You pass the park, empty swings swaying in the breeze. You pass the coffee shop, the tables still set, half-finished drinks on the counter, but no people. You look at your reflection in the glass, searching your own eyes for answers, but all you see is fear. It feels like time has stopped, like the world just paused. But everything's still here. The buildings, the cars, the houses, even the birds in the sky. But the people? Gone. Completely gone. The weight of it presses down on your chest. The realization crawling up your spine. Cold, heavy, terrifying. You're not just alone in your house. You're not just alone in your neighborhood. You're alone. On Earth. And this is just the beginning. In the beginning, a strange part of you almost feels excited. As terrifying as the emptiness is, there's this little voice inside that says, anything is possible now. The whole world is yours. No traffic, no lines, no rules, no one to tell you what you can or can't do. You walk into the fanciest restaurants, sit at the biggest tables, eat whatever you can find. You stroll into luxury apartments, lie on velvet couches, drive cars that used to feel impossible to afford. You blast your favorite songs through the streets, no noise complaints now. For a moment, it's thrilling. It feels like you've stepped into a video game where you have infinite lives, infinite choices, infinite space. But that feeling doesn't last. Soon, the cracks start to show. You open the fridge, everything's starting to spoil. You flip a switch, but the power's gone. The internet's dead, the radio's silent, your phone's useless. You walk through the empty aisles of supermarkets, but the fresh food wilts fast. The shelves aren't restocked. You start noticing how quickly the world falls apart when no one's left to hold it together. Power plants shut down, water stops running, cars break down, and suddenly all that freedom feels like a trap. You can't just order food. You can't call for help. You can't even talk to another soul. At first you told yourself, this is your playground, but now it's a ghost town. Every street feels too quiet. Every abandoned house feels like a grave. The silence, it's not peaceful anymore. It's heavy, unnatural, and with each passing hour, the weight of being completely, utterly alone starts crushing your chest. You used to dream of escaping responsibilities, escaping the noise, the chaos of crowded cities, but now, you'd give anything, absolutely anything, to hear another human voice. Days pass, maybe weeks, but time feels meaningless now. The sun rises and sets, but the world stays frozen, like a paused movie with no one left to press play. At first, you kept busy, exploring, scavenging, keeping your mind distracted. But eventually, the silence, it starts crawling under your skin. You talk out loud, at first just to hear a voice, even if it's your own. You leave the TV running on static, hoping for some kind of sound, anything. You catch yourself talking to your reflection, to mannequins in store windows, to photographs of strangers left behind in empty houses. It feels stupid, but the silence is unbearable. You start dreaming of voices, hearing footsteps that aren't there. You wake up in a panic, thinking someone's nearby, but there never is. You try to stay strong. You tell yourself this is temporary, you'll adapt. But the cracks start forming. You forget what day it is. You eat just to fill the emptiness in your stomach, not because you enjoy it. The streets you once explored now feel haunted. The houses, lifeless museums of people who simply vanished. You start to miss the most ordinary things. The chatter of a crowded cafe, hearing kids laugh, bumping shoulders with strangers on a busy street. Even the annoying things, the traffic, the alarms, the background noise you once hated. You never realized how much of your identity, your sanity, came from others. From feeling seen, heard, understood. Now, you're invisible. Not because people are ignoring you, but because there's no one left. The human mind isn't designed for isolation. You can feel your thoughts spiraling, logic slipping through your fingers. You replay old memories over and over, afraid you'll forget what a real conversation sounds like. Your own voice becomes your only companion and your biggest enemy. And the scariest part? You're not sure how much longer your mind can survive when your body is the only thing left alive. Eventually, the panic fades, but not because you found peace, because survival takes over. Your mind, your body, they switch to a different mode. You stop wondering why this happened and start focusing on how to stay alive. The little things you took for granted before, the grocery store, the running water, the stocked shelves, those are gone now. The city's quiet, but it's decaying too. Food spoils, buildings fall apart. The power's been dead for days. You realize no one's coming to save you, because there's no one left. So you adapt. You break into warehouses, raid abandoned farms, search for canned goods, anything that lasts. You track the sun to tell the time. You learn to filter rainwater, to light fires, to patch wounds on your own. You avoid dangerous buildings, some collapsing, some filled with rotten air. The cities that once symbolized life now rot in silence. You trade comfort for survival. You stop sleeping in luxury homes with glass walls and settle for small, secure places with solid doors and quick exits. Your world shrinks to essentials: food, shelter, water, safety. You lose track of your old self, the person who cared about phone notifications, work schedules, social media. Now it's just about the next meal, the next sunrise, staying alive. You scavenge batteries, tools, books that teach you how to fix, build, create with your own two hands. And as much as you hate it, you get better at being alone. You find patterns, the places where food lasts longest, where the animals roam, where the quiet feels manageable. But even with all your routines, all your survival tricks, you can't escape the question clawing at the back of your mind. What's the point of surviving when there's no one left to survive for? But after a while, survival isn't enough. You can have all the food in the world, all the shelter, all the time, but without purpose, without meaning, it starts to feel pointless. You wake up each morning, eat, scavenge, survive, but for what? There's no one to share stories with, no one to laugh with, no one to argue with. You walk through empty streets, stare at old photographs of strangers smiling, weddings, birthdays, family vacations, frozen moments of lives that simply vanished. And you can't help but wonder, why? Why were you spared? Are you being punished? Tested? Is there a bigger reason? Or is this just random? Your mind spins with questions no one can answer. You find yourself traveling farther, searching abandoned towns, crossing empty highways, hoping, praying that maybe, just maybe, someone, anyone is still out there. But every place tells the same story: dust, silence, forgotten lives. You stand at the edge of cities, look out over a world that feels too big, too empty, and the loneliness hits you like a tidal wave. You thought the scariest part would be finding no one, but the real fear is realizing you might never find anyone again. You're stuck in your own mind, trapped inside memories, living in a world built by millions, but now haunted by only one. You start to wonder, if a joke makes you laugh, but no one hears it, does it matter? If you build something, create something, but no one's there to see it, what's the point? You've been handed a planet, but stripped of the very thing that gave it life, people. And that thought, it lingers, heavier than hunger, louder than fear, the question echoing in your head, what's the point of surviving a world that's already dead? You always thought the worst thing in life was being alone in a crowded room, feeling invisible, unheard, forgotten. But now you know what true loneliness really feels like. Not the kind that lasts a few hours, or a bad day, but the kind that stretches endlessly, with no one left to say your name, no one left to remind you that you exist. You dreamed of freedom, but freedom without people, without love, laughter, arguments, friendship, is just another prison. We were never meant to live for ourselves. We exist because of each other. And when the last voice fades, the world doesn't feel alive anymore. So if you ever wake up one morning and find yourself the only person left on Earth, ask yourself, could you survive? Not just the hunger, the fear, the isolation, but your own mind. Because sometimes, the scariest part isn't being alone in the world. It's realizing the world was never meant to be lived alone.